Hello, mortgage coaches. Thanks for joining us for another 10 days to Rockstar status training. For today's call, we're going to be covering the modern open house experience, but I want to do a little housekeeping before we begin just to make sure you know where all the resources are and how you can revisit past recordings of this series. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So we are in week 2 of our Rockstar calls here. You notice this ran for 2 weeks. Again, this is in a playlist that I'm going to give you a link to in just a minute here. But the idea behind this is just kind of ramping up for the new year. We want to make sure that you've got the tools necessary to make Mortgage Coach a habit. Make it part of every borrower you talk to, every realtor you talk to, so that you're giving a uniform educational experience to all your contacts. So obviously there's some benefits. You can see what I've got on the screen here. You're going to get faster conversions. You're going to get a deeper understanding from your borrowers and realtor partners of what the mortgage options are. And of course, you're going to be building solid relationships using this technology. And certainly all these presentations can be shared. So you're going to be eliminating a lot of the confusion that happens during the loan process when people get advice from others that don't necessarily have all the information that you have to deliver to your borrower. Now, we are, like I said, in week 2. We've already covered this week the cost of waiting analysis and the skip the bagel analysis. Today, we're going to focus on the modern open house experience. But as you can see on the slide here, you've already signed up for it, so you don't need to sign up for the future calls. There's going to be a couple more this week. We'll be doing Mortgage Coach and Rate Watch mobile apps tomorrow, so make sure and stop in on that one. And then on Friday, we're going to be doing the annual mortgage review. So we'll teach you how to farm your past client database out of your origination system and produce potential refi comparisons for your borrowers. And you want to keep in mind with annual mortgage review that you're going to send them out even if it's not the best time to refi, because those particular presentations are just kind of a way to keep you top of mind for your client. Let them know you're looking out for them every year. And if there is an option that's going to work for them, certainly you want to make sure they know about it. Even if there's not an option to work for them, you want to make sure that they know you're thinking about them every year. Now, notice at the very bottom, there's another link there, mcedge.tv/holiday archive. That will actually take you to the YouTube playlist where you can get a playback of all of these recordings. So as we continue to record these, we'll be adding additional ones to that playlist. We've already got it almost completed. We have 3 more to do, including today's. So you'll see that there's a bunch of them already up there. Feel free to revisit those on your time and of course at your leisure. And when you watch those, try not to just watch them. Try to actually duplicate what's going on the screen, because I think you're going to find that actually getting your feet wet in the product and making it do what we're trying to teach you how to do is going to be the best way to kind of make it a habit, to make it so that you don't have to think about it when the time comes. All right, so with that said, don't forget, we do have constant training going on. Every Tuesday, Dave brings in an industry guest, sometimes outside of the industry, actually. And it's an interview. It could be a top producer interview, so you can get tips and tricks, ideas for how to grow your business. It could be just basic mortgage coach adoption strategies. It could be time efficiency and streamlining. There's lots of different types of topics that he covers there, but all of them are very valuable, and I would highly encourage you to get involved in those if you haven't yet. Now, as I said, we do have training going on every day. I just mentioned the Tuesday call, but every Monday we have an intro to mortgage coach call, and that one just gives you the basics. So if you want to learn how to create your first purchase total cost analysis, which is going to be your bread and butter presentation, stop in on that call. Every Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, we show you how to build that total cost analysis, and we give you an overview of the membership benefits and training resources. And then, of course, today, right now, there's actually a parallel call going on, which is the mobile conversations call. We run it every week, so don't worry about missing it today. Stop in next week. It is at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and it is all about how to use your mobile device to not only distribute your education so that you can make sure that it doesn't cause any confusion, but also to use it to impact those people that you know that people live on their smartphones, so you really want to have an idea of what that experience is going to be like, and you want to tailor the way you present to your borrowers, understanding that they're probably going to be opening this on their phone. So stop in on that one if you get the chance. It's a great call to get your feet wet. Now, of course, every Thursday we have an open Q&A. So that's an hour-long call in which we'll start with a subject for you just to kind of prompt questions, but it really is all about you. So if you have questions, specific types of scenarios that you'd like to see, our trainers can demonstrate it for you in real time and answer any questions you have. So make sure to sign up for those. Both the Tuesday and Thursday calls, you only need to sign up once, and then that link you can use going forward indefinitely. We'll keep those calls the same link all the time. Now, Wednesday and Friday, if you're just looking into to purchasing the software, maybe you want to get a little bit more information about enterprise type licensing, stop in on our Mortgage Coach demos. Wednesday and Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific. It's a 30-minute session in which Dave and some of our national accounts people actually go over the benefits of the Mortgage Coach membership. It's not so much oriented around using the product. It's really showing you what the outputs can be and what your membership details contain. And then don't forget, we'll be starting up Mortgage Coach University as of January again. We've replaced it this month in favor of the call you're on right now, but in January we will be doing Mortgage Coach University, 2 classes a day. There is an 8 a.m. and an 11 a.m. call, both Pacific time, of course, so you want to convert those accordingly. But those ones will give you the nuts and bolts. So much like what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be showing you how to not only build the open house experience, but how it looks like on mobile and what to do with it. Those calls will be very topic oriented. So one day it'll be about purchases, another day it'll be about refinances. There's some that are specific to strategies, much like what you're seeing in this 10 days training, but those run every single month. So if you get a chance to stop in on those, cherry pick the ones you want, and I guarantee you'll get a good learning experience out of those. Now, you can find all of these calls by going to our calendar. And you can do that, just go to mortgagecoach.com/calendar, and that'll take you to all the event listings so you can register for those if you haven't yet. Now, today we're here to discuss the open house experience. This is the modern mortgage experience. And as you can see on the screen here, we're really going to focus on the mobile aspect of this. Because let's face it, you probably have a graphics company that does your open house flyers, the really pretty printed versions of them. That's really not what we're about here. We're about giving you a shareable, dynamic presentation that your realtor can use to show co-branding. And it's a link. So when they want to put this somewhere, say they want to put it on their own MLS listing, maybe they want to put it on their website, their social media. It's just a link that they can share, just like any other one. So they can share it from within the app, which I'll show you how to do today. They can also share it by simply just pasting that link wherever they want to. And the good part about that is it's kind of passive marketing for you. So it's a good idea to get familiar with how to do this. You know, we're going to be going through a total deep dive today on it. So hopefully you'll come out of this call today with some new ideas on how you might be able to use this to impact your business. All right, so let's go ahead and actually get into some product here. Now, first things first, let's take a look at what the output of the mobile open house experience looks like. As you can see, I've brought up my mobile phone here. This is an Android device, but it looks the same between Android and iOS. Now, when somebody clicks on one of your links, whether it's a partner or whether it's a potential borrower that has clicked on the link from an advertisement, whatever the case may be, they're always going to land inside the mobile app here. In order to view the presentations on a mobile device, you do have to have the Mortgage Coach app. So if they don't have it yet, it'll just prompt them to install it, and then it'll breadcrumb them right back to that app and open it up. Now, with that said, what does it look like? What does it contain? Now, as you can see on the screen here, it's really focused around 2 items: the property and your mutual co-branded relationship with the Realtor Partner. Notice that this is unlike the total cost analysis. This isn't really a deep dive on financing options. Now, there is an area where you can put some sample financing options on here, and it is very important, but it won't go into the short and long-term impacts that are shown on the total cost analysis. You're not going to get the deep dive on reinvestment analysis and stuff like that. So this strategy using the open house presentation can be used in a couple of different ways. The main way I see people using this, 2 ways actually, is one, for prospecting new realtor partners. We're going to discuss what that looks like today. So if you haven't worked with somebody and you're just kind of combing through listings looking to develop some partner relationships, I'm going to show you how to create one direct from a listing today. Now, the other way, of course, is if you already have an existing relationship with a realtor partner and they want you to produce this presentation for, some of their listings. You can actually continually add new presentations underneath that partner, and it'll save you a lot of time because you don't have to put all the partner contact and images in there every time you do it. Now, like I said, prospecting or existing partners, those are the two of the main ways I see this being used. But remember, all mortgage coach presentations, they'll take what you give them. So you can use it for anything you like. I actually even see some originators using this as kind of a pricing sheet. They'll put some co-branding on there, or if they don't want to brand it with a partner, they'll put their assistant's information on the right side there. And then they'll send this presentation out to, everybody they want to have notified of what their rates are this week on some standard financing options, and they'll just continue updating the rates because it's a dynamic presentation. That presentation, the link doesn't need to be changed. When you update it, whoever clicks on it is going to see the most recent updates. So just kind of some options to consider for you. I'm not going to go through that last option too much on today's call. We're going to focus really on the prospecting strategy, and I'm going to show you how to create additional analyses underneath a partner. So looking at the output here, you can see we've got some basic property details up at the top here. There is your disclosure, which they'll be confronted with when they first get into your proposal. They'll have to hit OK or I accept in order to continue on. But they can always get back to it by tapping on this disclosure button. Now, don't forget that disclosures are also, actually, the entire presentation can be read in Spanish. So if you have a good Spanish audience for people that you're working with, just make sure to let them know. They can just tap on this little tag here and it'll change all the labels in the proposal to Spanish. Now you notice that we've got some basic details about the property, things like asking price, beds and baths, and then a little snippet of information about the property. Then we've got two property images. You can see there's one here, but if you tap on it, it'll actually change to a different image. You can upload up to 3 images, but you can choose 2 to run on your report in this kind of circular motion here. Now, most importantly, down at the bottom, you've got your branding on the left-hand side, so your photo and logo that are from your mortgage coach settings, whatever equal housing logo you have specified. And then, of course, you've got your partner's branding over here. So I'm going to show you how to upload those images and collect the partner information. Got a question real quick from Lynette. She's saying the computer is cutting out with the speakers. Lynette, what I might advise there, that's usually an internet problem. Try switching your audio over to the phone and then call into the number. Also keep in mind, we are recording this, and you can always go back to that archive link if you want to rewatch a piece that you might have missed or something got choppy for you. But I would advise, try using the phone and see if that works for you a little bit better. And I got some confirmations. Thanks, Mark, and a couple of other people saying sound is good. They're okay. So it's probably just a little bit of an internet problem, Lynette. Try the phone. I think you'll find it's a better experience. All right, so 2 more items that I wanted to make sure to draw your attention to, and that's these buttons here at the top. We've got property features, which you can actually specify what the features are. There's some stock features that we've built in for you, but then there's also, you can input up to 4 custom features in here. So we'll get into the data entry on this in just a moment. But the other item I do want to point out for you is the payment options. So remember I said there is some limited financing information on here. You can put into up to 4 products on this particular presentation. But as you can see, there's really no long-term comparisons. There's no qualifying parameters. So you want to keep this in mind, is that you're kind of giving the plain vanilla of each item that you're pushing out there. So you want to generally put in the most common loan options that you offer. And it doesn't have to be the ones I use. You may want to put, a 20 and a 15 year, and then, maybe a down payment assistance program, an 80-10-10, whatever you see fit for that particular market. Some of the higher value properties, you're going to find that when you get into jumbo loans, you've got a little bit different pricing structures on those. You want to recommend different LTV levels, those kind of things. Again, this is completely pliable. So whatever you actually want to put in there is perfectly fine, and you can get this out. All right, so let's continue forward here. I'm going to go ahead and let's get into the data entry side. So how did I prepare this, and how did I make this available? Well, let's go ahead and yank this off the screen. And we'll head over to Mortgage Coach. So if you've not been in here yet, if you're still brand new to the system, your login screen is edge.mortgagecoach.com. And that will take you to an area where you're just going to put in your email address and your password to log in. And there are 2 sections to Mortgage Coach. There's the client-facing section where you can do your total cost analyses and your rent versus own presentations. And then there's the partner-facing version, which this is where you can do your open house presentations and your permanent seller buy-downs. Now, permanent seller buy-down, just real quick, to give you an idea of what that is it's just going to, it's actually a pretty cool program that allows you to compare traditional financing versus a potential rate buy down by the seller. And then it allows you to compare some options and find out how much the seller would actually need to reduce the price to get the same savings. So pretty cool idea. And it hasn't been in use very much lately because rates have been so low. But as we're seeing, we're getting a little bit of an uptick in rates lately. So you may find that the jumbo market is a great place to actually check this out. Now, also, we've gotten a couple of questions in the box asking for how to get to that recording archive. It's just mcedge.tv/holiday archive. But we've also put it in the chat area of your GoToMeeting toolbar there. So if you click on chat, it'll reveal that link for you and you can get to it. That's just going to take you to our YouTube channel to a predefined playlist. All right, so when I want to create one of these guys, first thing I'm going to do, if I'm prospecting, I'm going to go and find a listing. So you can see I've gone to Redfin. I just found a listing near me here. I've got some basic information about the Realtor Partner, which is awesome because I'm going to need to find a little bit more about her in order to make this presentation available to her. But I've got some good images for the property. I've got a nice lengthy description here, which I'm not going to be able to use it all, but I can kind of pick and choose what I need to. And then we've got things like some additional info about the house. You know, a lot of the options that we were looking at on the finalized presentation are available right here. They've got a features area. So there's lots of good data that we can collect from this. Now, first and foremost, we need to know who the realtor is because when we start a new realtor partner, we're going to need to know that information. So I'm actually just going to copy her name. And I'm going to jump over to Mortgage Coach and I'm going to start a brand new partner. And I'll just paste it in there. Now, detailed contact information, you'll notice that on a lot of these listings, it doesn't give you contact information for this person. It'll give you a way to ask a question through a form or something, but it's not a direct contact. So how do you find out more about this person? Well, before I move on, I know that I'm going to need her image because I'm going to use that on my finalized presentation. So I want to grab that real quick. In order to save an image onto your screen, just right click on it and then do Save Image As. Your operator might look a little bit different. If you're on a Windows machine, it'll just say Save Image or Save Picture. But go ahead and select that, and it'll allow you to save that image wherever you like. I'm going to put it on the desktop, and let's see, her name. Well, let's cancel that real quick. Her first name was Vicky, so let's go ahead and try that again. Save Image As, and I'm just going to use her first name as the image name. Now that is saved locally so I can use it for later, but right now I need to find more detailed information. So I'm actually going to copy her name and where she works. And I'm just going to put that into a Google search. So I'll just paste it into my address bar here and hit enter and see what comes up. Now, you'll find that they're represented all over the place. You know, you can kind of comb through these different options. Maybe you want to look at the actual broker's website to find out more information. You can see that this one actually does show some very detailed contact information, which is good stuff. They also have their own website, which does have contact information on it as well. If you find one that has a website like this, generally you want to start there. So let's go there, and you can see we've got confirmation that is the same person, so that's good news. And then if we scroll down here, we'll see that there's some additional connection information. And on this website, they actually make a lot of this available. So I've got things like her phone number. So I'm going to copy that and jump over to Mortgage Coach and pop in the phone number. This is a Realtor Partner, so I'm going to select Realtor. Now, referred by, I'm just prospecting, so I'm not being referred to this person, but certainly if you were and you wanted to remember the referral, you could certainly put that in there. Now, friendly name. Friendly name is not a nickname for your presentation. This, or not a nickname for your partner. This is actually a nickname for your presentation. So this helps you differentiate. If you're doing multiple presentations for a single agent, this will allow you to know which one is which. So I like putting the property address in this field. So I know my property address is right up here, so I'm going to go ahead and just copy that and pop it in the friendly name field. And then as I continue forward, it's going to ask me questions about the property. So it's a good thing I just copied that. I still have that in my copy on my clipboard, so I'm going to just paste that in there. And then if we jump back over, we can see exactly where this is. This is Lake Balboa, California, 91406. So I'll just type that in. Now the show on map button allows you to just visualize where this is. This isn't going to do anything to your presentation. It's really just for you to see what's it close to. Is it close to the freeways? Does it match the criteria that you're looking for your prospective home buyer? But again, it doesn't land on your presentation, so no need to click it if you don't need to see a visual on where it's at. Now we continue forward and we get a little bit more information about the property. So I need things like the asking price, square footage, beds and baths. That's all right up here at the top. So $390 is my price. I'll jump back over and pop that in. And then square footage. Oops. Let's bring that back up real quick. I clicked on the wrong part of there. So square footage, 1580. So I'll jump back over to Mortgage Coach, put in my 1580. And then beds and baths, we have 2 beds and 2 1/4 baths. So we jump over to Mortgage Coach. And then listing link. This is just a repository of information for you. So it's not going to show up on the finalized presentation, but it is good to capture the link where you got this in case you need to revisit that particular page. So I like to just paste it in there. And then if I need to come back to it, I've at least got a place where I've stored it. Now you have the option of showing or hiding the property features. Obviously, if you're going to enter the property features, you don't want to hide them. But if you don't want to use features, that's perfectly okay. You can hide them and it will be omitted from the presentation entirely. I'm going to go ahead and enter them. And you can see this brings up a grid where you can kind of just check some boxes here. So if we were to run back to our listing real quick and check it out, you can see there's a lot of it that's written in here. Formal dining room with wet bars, spacious patio, sliding doors, breakfast areas, laundry on the second level. And if we scroll down to more of the detail, we can see a few more things. Things like it's a 2-car garage. We can see it's got a laundry room. We can see what kind of appliances it has, the bathrooms, all that kind of good stuff. So we're going to go back over to Mortgage Coach and we're going to check the options that apply. So we've got a 2-car garage. We have a laundry room. And then let's say we'll probably have central air and heat there. I didn't really look through it, but certainly could do that. There is an enclosed patio. So I'm going to put a custom feature in and just say enclosed patio. And then I also like to grab things like the school district if it happens to mention that. That's always a good item to put on there. It does have a pool, so I put a pool in there, but you can see this is LA Unified School District, so I'll pop that in. I'm going to put that in another custom feature tab. Oops. Let's get that. And then let's see what else we can put in there for some more custom features. If we check out that listing again, we did see it had a pool, so let's make sure to put that in. So it's got a swimming pool. And anything else that we can see that has some good information. There we go, central air and heat. It does have a fireplace, so we'll jump back there and check the fireplace option. All right, so I've got some good options in there, some stock ones and some customized ones. You can even put things about like what's the view, all that kind of good stuff. And then hit OK when you're done with those features and then continue forward. Now it's time to upload the images of the property itself. So if we jump back over to that listing and go to the very top where the images are, you can see that there's actually a carousel. So we can kind of choose the images we want to put on there. Obviously, the front-facing image is a good one. So you can just do save image as if you want to. If you click on it, it'll actually make it larger for you. So you can just right-click and save the larger image. And I want to call this one house front. And I'll replace the image I already have. So there's one image that I want to use. I need to get a second one here because I want to be able to cycle 2 images. So let's see if there's a good one. Oh, there's a good one of the fireplace, but yeah, a little bit messy coffee table. I might not want to use that one. Maybe the kitchen area. Okay, so I'll save that image and I'll just call this one kitchen. Obviously use your discretion as to what images you'd like to use. But once you've got those saved, it's simply just a matter of uploading them in here. So I'm going to browse and let's go back to my desktop and let's find that house front image that I saved. There we go. Go ahead and open that. And then for image 2, I'm going to get that kitchen image that I saved. There it is. Now I've got two images in there. But remember I showed you on the mobile experience that there was a little area that has a description? So this one right here, that description comes from the description under image 1. So what I'm going to do is under image 1, this area right here, I can put in some good detail on the property here. So now I'm going to want to go back to that detailed property information that they had in the very beginning here. Let's see if I'll copy that first sentence. That looks pretty good. And then I can put a little bit more in there. Let's see. That last sentence is pretty good there. I'll go ahead and paste that second sentence in there. And now we're good. So I've got a good solid blurb of text in there that I can use. And now I can continue forward to my financing options. Now, if you've built out your templates, this becomes a lot faster because you can actually use product templates if you want. So for instance, if I want to bring in my FHA template, choose FHA 3.5% down, enter the rate that I can get them right now, and it has already pre-populated all my fees for me. It's got my upfront MIP, everything's already in there. I just need to put in my hazard and taxes if I'm going to show that. It's up to you. If you want to just show P&I, that's fine. But make sure it's uniform across all the products that you're showing. And then this is an FHA loan, so I want to make sure and put in my mortgage insurance factors and then just zero out the cutoffs, and I'm good to go there. So I've got the first product in there, and I just actually need to name it because I've still got it called product 1. So we'll call this one FHA 3.5% down. And then we want to get at least 2 options on the presentations just so the graph makes sense. So I'm going to add another product, and we'll call this one conventional 3%. And this will be the Fannie Mae product. I'm actually going to copy the one I just did so I don't have to redo all that legwork. I will remove the FHA designation, change my down payment accordingly. And if my rate is a little bit different, which it usually is between FHA and conventionals, I'd want to update that rate. Now, as I continue going through, everything's already in there because I use the copy function. Don't have to worry about that. And then all my factors are in there, but I need to modify my mortgage insurance because this one is a conventional. So I'll put in my conventional factor, and then I am good to go. Now, as I continue forward in this, I'm going to be given a graphic that shows me some payment differences. This is really the most important thing because this is the one that's going to show up on the open house presentation. The short and long-term projections don't show up. They're just good for you to be able to see so that when you have more conversations about these particular loan options that are specific to a borrower, you have a little bit of background on what these products look like over the long term. Now we get more detailed information for our partner. So if we were to jump back over, let me get that back in here. There we go. If we were to jump back over to our partner homepage, we can get things like the company name. See, we've even got their address here. So I'm going to capture what I can and just kind of jump back and forth and complete things. And they are Northridge. And we'll pop in their zip code, 91324. Now, company name. And actually, it looks like we've got more details I should collect real quick. So I've got their email address. Let's go ahead and pop that in. I have a phone number, which I've already used, but there's also a mobile phone here. So I'm going to capture this one and put it in the mobile phone field. And then I saw some licensing information. There it is. So I'm going to copy that. We'll pop that in the license field. And then website is just going to be this one right here. And now I just need the name of their business. So in this case, you can see this is just the MERS team, or you could use Pinnacle Estate Properties. Now you notice there is a logo here, so we actually might want to use that if we can. I don't see any other logo. Oh, there's a better one actually. Let's copy that one. So we'll do copy image there. Oops, I'll do save image as, sorry. We'll save that on the desktop, and that's Prudential logo. So it's Pinnacle Estate Properties, Inc. I'll go ahead and write that in. All right. And then as we go forward, we're asked for the headshot and the logo. Now I've already saved Vicky's headshot, so I'm going to go ahead and browse for that. And let's see if I can find the V's here. There she is. Go ahead and open. And then I will browse for the logo, and that was Prudential. There we go. All right, I've got her branding and her headshot there, so now it's time to continue forward in the wizard. Now, when we get to the very end of the wizard, we've got a couple more things we got to fill out, but I do want to draw your attention to this part. There's check boxes next to each of the options that you've entered, and you can check or uncheck them at your leisure. Now, what this does is if you put out, say, 4 products on the original presentation and you've sent the link out, they've shared this, the Realtor Partner comes back to you and says, you know what, I don't think rural housing is going to work in this particular area. I really don't see any properties that would qualify for that. So maybe you want to pull the USDA one that you've got on there off of the presentation. All you have to do is uncheck the box and it'll actually remove it from the entire presentation, both print, in the browser, and on the mobile device. So now we have an option of giving it a presentation title. I like using something like Own Your Dream House Now. Pricing label is asking you what you want to call the price. Is this going to be an asking price? Is this going to be a sales price, listed at, list price, whatever the case may be? I'll call it asking price. Actually, I would never call it asking price. I'll call it list price. We don't want to prompt a bidding war just with our pricing label. And then notes. This is the payment notes field. So when you enter text here, it's going to have a double asterisk next to it. There's also going to be a double asterisk next to the payment that's shown in those financing options. So this is a good place to indicate things like whether you're including hazard insurance and taxes. Maybe there's some qualifying parameters that you want to put there, like the loan options show require 700 minimum FICO, 38% DTI, whatever the case may be that your compliance needs to have on there. This is a great place to put it. So I'll put payments shown include estimated hazard insurance, mortgage insurance, and property taxes. And then now I get to the part where I get to select which image goes where. Now remember on the presentation that I showed you a few minutes ago, there's a cycling area for the images, but there's always one that's the primary and one that's the secondary. Now in order to choose those, what you do is start off, you've got it toggled on first image and select the one you want to use for the first image. Then toggle the radio button over to the second image and select the one you want to use for the second image. Once you've got both of those selected, just continue forward and you're done. Now, the reason you have to do this is because you can actually upload up to 3 images, but you can only use 2 for your finalized presentation. The reason we give you the opportunity to upload more is in case you want to change them out in the mid-process, or maybe you want to also prepare a seller buy down on this presentation and you want to use a different image than you did on the open house. Perfectly acceptable. But just remember, you can only show 2 on the output presentation here. Now we get to the end, we've got a couple of things to check before we make this one live. One, it's going to check this by default to notify you when the report is viewed. That's very important. You do want to get notifications when this is being viewed because it's going to give you an idea of the traction this is getting. For instance, if you gave this to a realtor partner, it has non-specific borrower information. It passed your compliance for co-branding, and they went ahead and posted it to their social pages. Maybe they put it on their Facebook fan page. They're going to start getting clicks on that link. And when they do, it's not going to tell you who clicked on it because, quite frankly, if our links had tracking information that would collect things like IP addresses, they'd get blocked from everywhere. So we don't even pop that in there. What we do is we start a timer when somebody clicks on it, and then we notify you when it gets closed. So this will give you an idea of how many clicks that particular presentation is getting. Might be turning on a light bulb for a couple of you. When you're talking about marketing your presentations to different avenues, you could use that friendly name field in the very beginning to talk about where you put it. So for instance, posted to Facebook for John Realtor. Then when you're getting those notifications, you know exactly how many times that Facebook one got pushed. But maybe you also copy that presentation and put it on LinkedIn, put a totally separate link on LinkedIn. Now your notifications for that one are going to be specific to that area where you shared it. So just kind of something to keep in mind. You got a little bit of latitude on how you want to use these, but remember, always check the box. You definitely want to get notified on these. Now, the call button is the click to call feature. By default, you've got 3 credits to try this out. If this is grayed out, it just means you ran out of credits. Don't worry about it. With the mobile being what it is right now, that's kind of a remnant of the past. It used to be when it was browser only, you needed a way to connect the borrower to you with a single click. That's what that click to call feature does. But on the mobile device, you can simply tap on anybody's phone number and it'll place a call. So not as important as it used to be. So I wouldn't worry about it. If you don't have the functionality, don't sweat it. Now, finally, there's a checkbox to send the view alert to the partner. And the reason this is there is because I entered the partner's email address. Now, what this does is every time that presentation gets viewed and you get a notification, your partner will get the exact same notification. So they can also get an idea on what the traction is. Also keep in mind that this feature is available on the borrower-facing presentations too. So as your borrowers are consuming these, the easy way to keep your realtor in the loop as things change or as your borrowers, consuming the presentation is just check the box to alert the partner. That way you're in a passive manner keeping that realtor involved in every step of the presentation. Whether you've gone back in and changed your video to update it for a new prior to doc condition, prior to funding, whatever the case may be, your realtor partner is going to get that same notification you do. So when they click on that presentation link, one, they're going to see whatever you've updated. But two, keep in mind that when you're doing your videos for these, understand the realtor partner is going to see them too. So make sure you've got a strong cross-sell in there. The best way you can beef up that relationship is keep that cross-sell strong all the way through the process. I'm not going to check it because I actually don't want Vicky to get a notification on my presentation today and wonder what's going on. So I'm going to leave that open. But final step here, quote date. I cannot stress how important this is. If you don't put a quote date on here, you're publishing rates without a date tied to it. That's a sticky situation. You don't want somebody coming back to you a month later saying, hey, your presentation said 4%, rates today are 4.5%. I want the 4% that you quoted. Yikes. Always tie a quote date to it. That way you can always justify that that rate was available on this specific date. So we'll pop that in there. And then lastly, we're going to generate the link. This is now the shareable link that you can send out to your realtor partners. You can send it out to your borrowers, wherever you want to post it. Again, if you're going to post to social media, consult your social media folks at your company just to make sure it's okay to do so. They might have specific guidelines that they may not allow you to do this kind of thing. They may want you to put additional compliance information on there before you can do it. But just check in. You want to CYA. Now, remember I talked about video. Video is really important. If you publish a presentation without video, you're allowing whoever views the presentation to kind of theorize their own opinions, to interpret their own education, which is obviously not going to be the best experience for people who don't work in the industry like we do. So when you do this, I would always encourage you 100% of the time include a video on this presentation. There are 2 ways to do this. You can do it in the browser by hitting the Add Audio Video. And this is just going to give you a preview of what the presentation looks like. But there's also a button down at the bottom here that allow you to record a message using your webcam. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that the second option for delivery is going to be doing it through your mobile phone. Your mobile phone actually has a far greater resolution camera on it. So I would advise that the mobile phone is the way to do it with doing mobile video. So let me show you how that works. Now, if I wanted to go in here and put a video on one of my presentations, I'm going to need to log in as me versus just being a client looking at it. So I need to go to the Mortgage Coach Pro side. And to do that, I want to hit this little silhouette guy at the very top left. And that will take me to a login prompt. Now, I've already logged in before, so it's previously logged me in. You only have to log in one time and it'll save your information. But once you've logged in once, it's going to populate a screen that looks like this for you. And what I would do if I wanted to add a video to this partner presentation is go into my partner section. I'm going to find the one I just created, and you can see that's at the top of the list. That's Vicky. I'm going to choose what type of presentation I created for her. That was an open house. And now I have the options of adding video, doing live presentation reporting, or viewing the report itself. Now live, just so you guys know what that is, that's the one option that allows you to drive the presentation. So you can move things around while they're looking at it. You can highlight, pop things out, kind of make sure that they're looking at what you're looking at while you're talking them through it. We're not going to cover that today, but do if you need a little refresher on that, go to our help menu and just type in live, and it'll give you all kinds of options from doing it on the mobile device to doing it from the browser. Lots of goodies in there. Now, if I wanted to add a video, I'm simply going to tap the video button. And there we go. You can see it brings up my video camera. All I have to do is hit the record button. You can see a counter starts up at the very top. Start talking, cross-sell the Realtor Partner, introduce yourself, services you offer, maybe a little blurb about the particular property that you're working on. And then, of course, solid call to action at the end. Make sure to call me when you're done with this so that we can formulate, a plan of action for how we're going to work with our mutual customers. Whatever the case may be, you guys are better at that kind of stuff than I am. But when you're done with your video, just tap that record button again. It'll stop the video, and then it's going to ask you what you want to do with it. So you just upload it. It'll tell you it's uploading the video. It doesn't take very long. And once it's uploaded, it starts converting it into multiple formats so that no matter where your borrowers or partners click on this from, they're going to see your video. So whether they're doing it from their mobile phone or from the browser, they're still going to be able to grab this. All right, so with that said, now what happens if I want to create another presentation for an existing Realtor partner? You saw that there was a little bit of data entry that I had to go into in order to make that happen. And actually, let's see. Let me just see if there's any questions we can attack before I get into that subject real quick. So Lewis's question, if you're prospecting a new realtor, do you send them the Edge Live? So you would send them your Edge link, Lewis, with a video on it. So you wouldn't necessarily have to do Edge Live right there. Edge Live is when you get them on the phone and you want to talk them through it and you want to drive their attention towards specific areas. But if you're just prospecting, I would send them the link with a video, compose a nice email around it, and then allow it to go from there. Now, once you get the notification that they viewed it, then it's time to call. And then once you've got them on the phone, sure, try Edge Live for them. Drive them around the presentation. Show them a couple of different presentations because you're going to want to deliver your value proposition on what types of presentations you can offer your mutual clients. So you want to have things like a sample rent versus own. You want to have a sample total cost analysis for general purchase options. You want to have things like the cost of waiting analysis, maybe a reinvestment strategy analysis, an annual mortgage review. All the different types of presentations that you would do for your borrowers, you want to make sure that your Realtor partner gets a link to those because once they're in their history list in the Mortgage Coach app, now your Realtor partner can show those off to other people that they're talking to when they're asked about financing. So now you're getting some more passive marketing for yourself. You've created these one time, shared them out to your Realtor, and now your Realtor can share them with people. All right, so hopefully that answers the question there. It looks like there's a couple more in here. Let's see. Chris's question, does it save the open house flyer so when we change the rate and put a new quote date, we can go back and review our prior quotes? So it does save it. It's not something that would be borrower facing. You can actually see your history on these if you go into your view history. So click on this button here and it'll show you the change log. So if you've gone in and made changes and then, say put a new video after you put some rates on it, you'll see different iterations of your changes. And you can double click on these to open up what it looked like at that time. Again, these aren't something you could resend. These are strictly a historical snapshot that are available inside Edge for you. Let's see here. Is there an option for consumers to turn off the videos once they visit Edge again? So they can't necessarily just turn it off by default. But what they can do is they can back out of it. So when they first tap on your link, it's going to ask them if they want to see the video. All they have to do is hit no there or cancel, and then they won't show them the video. So they can just continue forward. Now, if they've hit yes and the video is playing already, they can hit the back button or they can swipe back and it'll take them back to the main screen and they can reload the presentation. They'll get that prompt again as to whether or not they want to watch it, and they can say no to it at that point. All right. Do they have to have Mortgage Coach downloaded on their mobile? So great question, Lewis. If they don't have the Mortgage Coach app on their mobile device and they click on your link, it's going to take them straight over to the App Store so they can get it. Keep in mind that the Mortgage Coach app is free, so they won't need to do things like, set up a credit card in order to be able to do it. If they've ever downloaded an app before from, if they're on an Android, it'll be the Google Play Store. If they're on iOS, it'll be in the App Store. If they've ever downloaded an app before, they can download the Mortgage Coach app. Now, with that said, there's going to be a very small chunk of people that have never downloaded an app before, in which case it's going to make them set up their initial account so that they can download apps. It's a little different between Android and iOS, but both of them are pretty straightforward. It doesn't take a lot to get through it. And then once they've actually downloaded the Mortgage Coach app, they don't need to go back in and click on your link again. It's actually going to take them and breadcrumb them right back to that link that you sent them. So it'll open your presentation. All in all, less than, I would say, 25 seconds of installation in order to get this on there. And then once it's on there, of course, anytime they click on it, anytime they click a link from you going forward, it's automatically just going to open up in the app. Let's see. If it's a team, can I send to multiple emails in Mortgage Coach? So great question, Tammy. Now, Mortgage Coach does give you the option to share via email, but what it does when you choose this email is it actually just opens up your email client. So it doesn't send anything on your behalf. What'll happen is it'll compose a new email for you and pop the link in the body, but you're still going to want to write an email around it. And in that case, you can add additional people on the to line. So you can send it to anybody you like. In terms of entering the emails here, so the partner gets an alert. If the partner has a group email, then you'd want to put that in the partner email address field so they can get the alert to that group email. But otherwise, when you're sending these out, it's completely up to you. It's gonna spark up your Outlook or whatever mail client you're using, and you can put whoever you want in the to line or the CC line for that matter. So Mark's question, on my mobile, I'm only seeing seller buy down and open house flyer, no video button. What am I missing? So Mark, that's the part where it's actually asking you what type of presentation that you actually prepared for this person. So you'd want to actually click on open house flyer. And then after that, it'll ask you to put a video on it. Jim's question, is there a way to delete old partners? It kind of depends, Jim. If you're on your own individual license, absolutely. You can delete partners by going into the view all section. So I'll show you that in your home screen here. If I wanted to delete a partner, I can go into view all here, search out the partner I want, or just leave the characteristics blank and hit search. That'll give me my entire line. And then let's say that I wanted to delete Charlie Lewis. You can see I've got delete partner here. You can also delete individual analyses if you wanted to get rid of one of those by hitting the delete analysis. Now, the reason I said it's one or the other, depending on whether you're on an enterprise contract. If you are within an enterprise group, your leadership team may have actually disabled the delete buttons, and that's for compliance. So if that's the case, you would not be able to delete those. You'd probably just want to rename them at that point. Rename them something like I don't know, old file, deprecated file, whatever you want to call it, so it just doesn't clutter up your list. And then you should be good to go there. David's question, is the app they download personalized with our info? So actually the app isn't personalized with anything. However, the link itself that you sent them does have your info. So what happens is when they download the app, they could see a sample presentation in there. That one's from Joe, our president. It's just going to have sample branding on it. But when they click on your link specifically, it's going to open the app with your branding on it. So the branding lives on the link versus living on the app itself. Hopefully that helps. All right, so let's talk about one more option. Now, what if I was successful with Vicky? I had a really good experience. We decided we're going to make this a partnership. She's like, this is awesome. I need you to make more of these presentations for me. I have 4 other listings that I'd really love to get on my Facebook page. I'd like to put them on my sites. And if we could, if I can come by your office, let's do a video together on it. Great, awesome. That's exactly what you want to hear. So how do we do an additional presentation underneath this partner? Now, there's 2 ways to do it. The easy way is if the partner's in your list right here, open up the Edge Wizard that you were already in, go straight to your analysis screen. You can actually copy the existing analysis if you want, and it'll copy everything. Now, you're going to have to overwrite a good lot of it. So that's one way to do it. It will copy it, and you can copy it as another presentation under the existing client or under the existing partner. And again, you're gonna have to kind of work backwards on that to get rid of items that you don't want to see. Now, the other way that I actually prefer to use is go into your view all list, search your partner out. So let's say Vicky, right? And then once you find that partner, you can see that there's an add analysis button. This is really important. When you add an analysis, it's going to append an additional one underneath this partner. So I hit yes. This is a blank analysis, so there's no products in there, but it's got my partner's branding. So all the goodies that I put in there from the first presentation, with the exception of the friendly name. So now this is a second listing that I'm working on. And as you continue forward, you can put new street address information for the new one. Obviously the property information you want to complete, new images for that property. As you keep going through, you can put in your new loan products. But when you get to the contact area, check it out. All that stuff's pre-populated for you. It already knows who this is, so it has pre-populated. It's also brought across the images that you saved. So now all you're really doing is you've added an analysis under this partner, and you're just modifying the property information. When you go to generate a presentation link, this will be different from the original one that you generated. So it can have its own video, it can have its own lifespan. As you're changing items on it, that link won't change. Just what it shows will change. All right, so great questions. I really appreciate all the interaction today. It looks like we're getting towards the top of the hour. If there's any other questions, go ahead and enter those into the questions area in your GoToMeeting bar. We've got a couple of people actually helping with this, so even if I'm not able to answer them right away, people on our training team are looking out for you, and they'll make sure and get you answers. But with that said, if you want to drop off the call now, if you don't have any further questions, feel free to. I did record this, and we will be posting it to our archive. That link again is mcedge.tv/holiday archive. And that'll take you straight over to the playlist of all these training recordings. So with that, let's see if there's any more questions. Doesn't look like there's any more. Actually, Liliette, and hey, Liliette, it's been a long time since we talked. Glad you're on the call. What's the difference between ad analysis and copy analysis? Well, ad analysis is the one I just showed you, where it brings in all the partner contact info. Everything from the original info on the first page to the images and contact info in this section here, but it leaves all the product information blank. Copy analysis would do the same thing in terms of contact and partner, but it would also copy all the products you had and all the property information you had on the original. So you'd have to work backwards on that and overwrite the property information. You may or may not want to overwrite the products. That's why I showed you both options, is that if you're always using the same 4 product options for these guys, feel free to use that copy analysis. That's going to work out great for you. The difference is the way it would appear in your list. So let me show you something real quick. If we go into View All and just check out our entire list, you can see that Amy Realtor has a bunch of listings underneath her. This is from using the ad analysis. Now, when you do copy analysis, it asks you if you want to append it underneath that partner. So it will do it here. Just make sure to keep that in mind. When you're doing a copy or you're doing an ad, you need to make sure that it's within that current partner. Unless you want to do it for a totally new partner and you're replacing that, that's perfectly fine. But this allows you to kind of group all the different ones that you've done for this particular partner. If we were to go down to Vicky's, for instance, that we just did, you can see that there's the 2 different ones that I had worked on. If I was to add analysis to this, it's going to give me just the contact information and allow me to fill everything in. If I want to copy an existing one, I can do it from here too. Just select the analysis. I can now copy the analysis. It copies everything in there. So I'd want to overwrite things like the property information and then prepare a new video for it. A little tip here, videos do not get copied. Videos they stand alone and are attached to the link that was generated. So when you're copying these out, just make sure to realize that you need to make sure and put a video on that new copy that's specific to the new property or the new partner that you're working with. All right, it looks like we are out of questions. Thanks again, everybody. I really do appreciate your input, your feedback on today's call. Again, it is recorded, so check it out in the archive if you need to. But otherwise, we're always here behind the help menu too. If you ever need help on this, you're running into problems, maybe you just need to send us a presentation so that we can review it for you. You can always hit the help button right here. This will take you over to the Mortgage Coach Support Center, in which you can search for whatever you'd like. So let's say I want to learn about open house. I can search open house. And there you go, top listing there, collecting data and filling out the open house flyer. That's one I did a few years back. So you can see that some of the information has changed a little bit. Things like the multiple property images have changed a bit. But you can see there's one right there, adding property images into open houses. So there's all kinds of good stuff in here. There's even frequently asked questions. If you're running into a problem with the print where it looks kind of fuzzy, there's some recommendations we have for you. One of the topics we covered today, how do I create open house flyers for multiple properties for one realtor? That was the one where we actually did the ad analysis. You're getting a cutoff on the right side of your print job. One of your fields might be a little bit too long. Your product names might be a bit too long. Whatever the case may be, it's all in here. If you can't find what you need, There's actually a little link up here at the top that you'll see when you're logged in. When I'm logged in, I won't see it, but it says submit a request. That's one that actually sends an email over to our team, and it gets logged in our support system. They'll get back to you within about 15 minutes during business hours with either a solution or a request for additional information so they can help you solve the problem. So with that, thanks again, guys. Have a great day, and look forward to seeing you all on tomorrow's call. Thanks for joining us for the 10 Days to Rockstar status. Bye-bye.